how natural selection inspired a powerful new software technique, the genetic algorithm, GA. Origins and characteristics of the GA. In 1975, John Holland described the GA in his aptly titled book, Adaptation in Natural and Artificial Systems. An algorithm can be defined as an unambiguous set of steps that lead to the solution of a problem. By combining certain well-characterized aspects of heredity and natural selection with the concept of an algorithm, we come up with a powerful software engineering tool that borrows heavily from biological evolution. This is known as the genetic algorithm, GA. Unlike computer programs that solve problems by an orderly sequence of steps leading to the solution, the genetic algorithm simply varies a large number of parameters in a random fashion and then selects the combinations that fortuitously provide the best solution. The GA helps to illustrate the blind and unconscious way that evolution generates complex phenotypes. Holland's stroke of insight was to abandon the traditional logic of computer programming, in which engineers consciously solve a problem by an orderly and logical sequence of specific steps. Instead, he borrowed Darwin's brilliant concept, in which repeated cycles of random variation, followed by selection, lead to useful results. He did this by representing a multitude of random choices for elementary programming steps, and then allowing the computer to blindly select for the combinations of steps that happened to result in the best solutions. As described by Holland in a popular online article, computer programs that evolve in ways that resemble natural selection can solve complex problems even their creators do not fully understand. Living organisms are consummate problem solvers. They exhibit a versatility that puts the best computer programs to shame. This observation is especially galling for computer scientists who may spend months or years of intellectual effort on an algorithm, whereas organisms come by their abilities through the apparently undirected mechanism of evolution and natural selection. In the 1960s, I had been investigating mathematical analyses of adaptation and had become convinced that recombination of groups of genes by means of mating was a critical part of evolution. The result was the classifier system, consisting of a set of rules, each of which performs particular actions every time its conditions are satisfied by some piece of information. The conditions and actions are represented by strings of bits corresponding to the presence or absence of specific characteristics in the rule's input and output. According to Wikipedia, examples of problems solved by GAs include mirrors designed to funnel sunlight to a solar collector, antennae designed to pick up radio signals in space, walking methods for computer figures, and optimal design of aerodynamic bodies in complex flow fields. A common characteristic of these problems is that the optimal solutions represent a combination of parameters that interact in a complex way that defy the logical or linear approaches that are consciously applied by designers or engineers. A list of key attributes of natural selection that loosely apply to the GA. 1. Natural selection acts upon the advantages of a particular variable phenotype over other phenotypes in the struggle for existence. 2. Selection has its own built-in criteria for success, in particular, ecological contexts. 3. Selection works by a process that is aptly described as trial and error. 4. Selection is path-independent. 5. Selection is opportunistic. 6. Nature has no awareness, intelligence, or design. It is like a blind watchmaker that generates organization by any or every possible means. 7. Selection acts on the combined, integrated effects of a variety of molecular, cellular, and developmental mechanisms. 8. These combined effects are aptly described as various phenotypic gestalts. 9. Convergent evolution selects for useful outcomes, not for the path to get there. There are numerous distinct pathways that accomplish similar complex outcomes in terms of their adaptive significance. 10. Selection is opportunistic, a metaphorical tinkerer, a builder of metaphorical Rube Goldberg devices. 11. In each generation, offspring are varied, primarily by means of sexual reproduction, in which recombination shuffles the alternative determinants in the gene pool, for example, alleles, that are randomly inherited from the parents. 12. Useful attributes tend to increase the numbers of the individuals that carry them and thereby increase the proportion of those alleles in the gene pool.